Hello, everybody. Here we go. Now we have come to pretty much the end of the second quarter, week 6, where we are going to talk about the Bill of Rights. This is your grouchy historian, your tour guide this week through these 10 amendments to our Constitution. Okay, this week is all about the Bill of Rights. Okay, these are probably, there's actually no problem. These are the most discussed and misunderstood parts of the Constitution. As we're going to see in the next quarter, nearly all of our Supreme Court cases, certainly in the last century, have been over one of these rights. A disproportionate number of cases occur over the First, Second, Fourth, and Sixth Amendments. Now, I want you to read all of them because all of them have had various court challenges and cases based on them over the 200 plus years the Constitution has been in effect. But in particular, I want you to read the First, Second, Fourth, and Fifth. These concern the freedom of speech, and freedom of speech, press, and the assembly, the right to bear arms, the search and seizure, and of course the right by trial. Okay, there are literally dozens of Supreme Court cases that continue to come up to this day over these 4 rights. Okay, but you need to read all of them, because all of them are important because, again, these were the first 10 amendments. Again, as we read in the last couple of weeks, the Anti-Federalists in particular pushed to get these 10 amendments immediately passed as soon as the Constitution was ratified, okay? Because, again, they had fought a war with England over their rights. So it's not surprising that these would be the first 10 amendments. And as we're going to see when we start getting into the representative court cases from in the next quarter, determining the founders' original intent with these amendments is crucial to understanding the court cases they created and the outcomes thereof. Okay, lawyers and pundits have literally argued over commas and word choices, verb tenses, whatever, and intents for decades. This is why constitutional lawyers stay in business. So read these carefully. Read them a couple of times. In particular, the First, Second, Fourth, and Sixth. Okay. I've given you a short little summary here in your syllabus, but again, you need to read the actual language of them. I think some of the ones that aren't as talked about as much are still pretty important. We'll touch on these a little, probably not as much. In particular, Amendment 10 is really important because as we went through the drafting and rewriting and signing and ratification of the Constitution, there was that constant question of what are the powers of the federal governments, what are the powers of the states, what are the dividing lines, where do they have, like interlinking powers or mutual powers or dependent powers or whatever. So what the founders tried to do with Amendment 10, and they were very clear about this, and as we went back and read in Article 1, 2, and 3, the Constitution set out specific things that the legislative, executive, and to a much lesser extent, judicial branch could do, would do, could only do, which were reserved to them specifically. So in an attempt to sort of clear the way and clear it up, Amendment 10 is written very clearly to say that anything that the Constitution does not specifically give the power of Congress to do is to be reserved to the states. This is not really how our country is governed these days. And there have been some upswings in 10th Amendment cases where states, for whatever particular reason, have said, wait a minute, the federal government is basically getting a little big, too big for its britches. So we can expect to see quite a few more, I think, in the coming years, challenges to laws passed by Congress or executive actions from a president based on the 10th Amendment. Because again, it's not really ambiguous. it pretty much says that anything the Congress or the Constitution does not specifically say the executive or the legislative branch can do is the responsibility and reserve and province of the states. That is how a federal government is supposed to work. The federal government does certain things, the states do certain things, and never the twain shall meet, right? I think that's how that goes. Okay, so this week, again, read the Bill of Rights, read them a couple of times, because your paper is going to be, which of them do you think is the most important and why? Now, I'm not really sure. I don't think anybody said that they were written in a particular order of importance. You might attach an order of importance to them. I know certainly some internet memes do, and certain pundits and lawyers may. But, I'm not really sure about that myself. You can judge for yourself if you think that they were sort of written in order of importance. Certainly, you will have your chance to argue which one is the most important and why this week. So we're going to finish up. We've now finished up with the Constitution. Okay, you will have your test next week. Okay, and then the week after that, we will start getting into Supreme Court law. Awesome. No, I'm not going to make everybody a lawyer. Don't worry about that. But I think it's important for every American, certainly every student, to have at least a rough familiarity with some of the most important Supreme Court cases that have ever been ruled on. Because whether we like to think about it or not, these cases do affect our daily lives today. These are not some academic exercise. These are not some, judges just argue about these things. These things actually impact your life. So it's important to have at least a fundamental knowledge of some of these cases and how the Supreme Court can impact your life. Okay, so we're going to get into that in the third quarter. Good luck with your test next week.